so excited.
Time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
All right, 12:05 on a Tuesday. What's going on, everybody? It is Nielson, Gage, and Cass. It is Two Guys and a Goalie, presented to you by GS Construction, setting the industry standard for 50 years. With quality, efficiency, and safety driving their success, GS Construction has a foundation built on teamwork, and now they want you to become a part of the team. Visit www.gsconstruction.ca and click Ready to Work, or visit their page at Indeed.ca. With the new Next Up Person program at GS, it's not just a job, it is a career. Boys, there's only one place to start today.
Danny Ricciardo.
That's a funny joke. I was also making that joke as well. I was going to go McLeod Bethel Thompson.
Oh, okay.
MBT set to start.
Yeah.
For the Elks against Winnipeg in Winnipeg on Friday. I know you'll have more with Hernan this afternoon, and then the Reed Wilkins show will have more on this. But Cass, I know you're an Elks. You're a football fan too. What do you think of the decision to go to MBT this week as opposed to Trey Ford, who started last week?
Yeah, well, I think we saw the systemic dismantling of Trey Ford from on the defensive side of the ball last week, where
pretty much
just a perfectly executed game plan, and this kind of tells me that they don't see a way of beating it right now with Winnipeg's defense, with what they think they're going to put forward. I think going to MBT, you're maybe giving yourself a little more opportunity, or I mean, you're kind of looking at it and going like, we don't think that Trey Ford's going to be able to move the ball. If they key on him well again, we don't think we're going to be able to produce what we can offensively. So, yeah, I mean, it's not overly surprising, I guess, and it makes sense to me. I mean, I think Trey Ford's still your guy, as he should have been from the beginning. But you're looking at this going, okay, with this specific matchup, MBT may be the better answer.
What do you think, Gager?
I completely disagree with Cass. He's your guy moving forward. You want to find out what you have with Trey Ford. If that's Trey Ford's best, then you're in trouble. And I don't think that's Trey Ford's best.
It wasn't. And I would agree with you that it wasn't. And I, also would say that I think, there's a big coaching element, like the coaching chess game, where they didn't come up with ways to move the ball against, like, it was pretty clear what Winnipeg's game plan was against Trey Ford, and going with the two spies, trying to get some depth to try to limit his ability to move outside of the pocket. And they did it very, very well. And Edmonton just didn't have a response tactically. They couldn't figure out how to beat it. So, I know you disagree with me. I still do think you go to MBT. I'm not faulting Trey Ford in that, and I'm not blaming Trey Ford for that. I look at the coaching staff and say, they're not looking at this and coming up with ideas, so they're going with what they think may give them a better shot.
Cass doesn't like me or Trey Ford.
I like Trey Ford. Yeah, I'm a huge. I was advocating for him all season, and that's not like I like McLeod Bethel Thompson too. Like but I didn't think he should have been the starter. I like Trey Ford. He's my guy. I want to see Canadian in there. I like his mobility. He's way more exciting, and I think he produces more offense. He just got shut down last game, and they're maybe concerned about their ability to execute against the Winnipeg's D.
I'm sitting here. I thought I was sitting on a chair, but it turns out I'm sitting on a fence because I'm with Gage here on the point of, if Trey Ford's your guy, then you roll with your guy, especially like going into Princess Auto Stadium in almost a must-win game. Like, you're going to find out very much what you have right there. So I totally see where you're coming from. I believe, having watched pretty much every game these two guys have played this year, I do believe at this moment, MBT probably gives you a better chance of winning on the road in Winnipeg as a veteran quarterback who's played pretty well as of late. So I just don't know if you can have. I don't know if the market will let us have it both ways, Cass. Like, I don't know if the market will let us be like, Trey Ford's still the guy. But yes, MBT might give them a better chance to win this week. It's not like MBT's a career backup. I mean, this guy's been a career starter himself, right? It's not like you're going to Dakota Prukop in some sort of Bombers revenge game. Like, that's not happening.
No, and he's had success the last number of games he's played. Like, it's not like he's been poor since they've turned things around here. Like, MBT's been pretty stable and solid and has got you some wins. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'll go as far to agree with the one chat. EE Caster 1990 over in the nasty chat there. EE needs a win to keep the playoff hopes alive. Hopefully they win with MBT, then go back to Ford for Saskatchewan. And I would. I think Trey Ford is better suited to have success against the Riders defense than he is against the Bombers defense.
You know what? Maybe, guys, I was just going to say quick, and then Gager, I want you to go. Maybe we're seeing the evolution. You know how, like, in hockey you have 1A and 1B goaltending? Maybe we're seeing the 1A, 1B quarterbacking in the CFL.
That's what's happening. And the Elks are the foremost leader.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Gager?
Sometimes you see an E goaltender. That's it's a little bit further down the list.
The E bug.
Yeah.
The E goaltender would be Derek Van Diest because he played quarterback because he played quarterback junior football. That's got to be the reason.
What makes you think that Bethel Thompson is better suited towards playing against the Bombers instead of Trey Ford? Is it just last game?
Well, no, but he's just better out of the pocket still.
Okay.
He's better. He's better in the pocket. Yeah. He makes quicker decisions. And at this stage, I do think he throws a better ball. Okay. So
I think you can't. If you're Winnipeg, you can't run a two spy on him, right? Like, you can't have two players just keying up on MBT. Because if you just give him a little bit of that extra room from a throwing standpoint, I think he finds more.
Yeah.
He finds more. Where Trey Ford opens with his feet, right? Like, that's what makes him such a threat, is his ability to move outside the pocket and the threat of the run from him, which can then open up some receivers. I think, MBT is just better in the pocket.
Brett B says, well, how do you go back to Trey Ford if you win, though? I mean, fair point. But I think in this sort of two quarterback hybrid they got going, they could almost justify it. I think they could almost justify it.
Yeah, we'll have to all sit together at Century's Bar and Casino and argue.
And argue about it. I told you Ford should have started. Awanik's just going to be in shambles. We're going to have to slap him back to life. Anyway, I think this is the first full-blown quarterback controversy we've had here in a long time, because I don't think we've ever spent 10 minutes starting two guys and a goalie on a quarterback situation.
I don't think we've talked CFL for more than two.
It's moving the needle.
Yeah.
It's moving the needle. What I wanted to talk about was those damn chicken tendies. So Gager rolls in today. What brand was that?
They're ballpark ready chicken tendies.
Okay, yeah. You're the only one here, I think, that uses that toaster oven.
Yeah.
And every time you do, it kicks out a circuit breaker.
Well, I was heating up my tea, and you can't have both going at the same time.
The microwave
or it trips it.
Yeah.
But, not a bad little tendy. Huh?
No, I mean, it sucked because I was in the middle of lock shop, so I didn't want to just crush through a tendy. So I had a couple bites, then I saved it for after. But a pretty good crunch to that tendy.
I put a good crunch on that tendy.
Now what we need there is that custom honey dill sauce,
I know.
EST special. That's what we got to get.
I know.
We got to get that done. We got to get that taken care of.
Maybe we should try to collaborate with somewhere that makes sauces.
We're working on it.
There's two sauces in the fridge here, Cass. Again, that's why I thought we might have a Cass sighting today. I brought the chicken tendies, so you could.
I want more of a thicker dip as opposed to
You don't want to run it. Yeah. He wants
I've got this real Manitoba mindset for honey dill, and we got to have it out here. And we're working on it, Cass. We got a company that has given us a couple of test samples. And,
they're good.
Yeah, you know what? They were good. I mean, I'll give it. They were both good. The one was kind of spicy.
Yeah, that one's spicy, but really dilly. It's
very, very dilly. Yeah. I need less dilly and more whatever the other ingredients are.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is. Cass, have you ever made a honey dill sauce? You're a foodie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you do? I heard it's just mayo and honey and dill.
Basically.
Yeah, that's a simple one. Yeah, I mean, you can kind of go a dill Chick-fil-A style, which means I would highly recommend, which you'd go mayo, a little bit of mustard, some hickory smoke, then some barbecue sauce, then your dill and your honey.
Wow. You're not messing around.
Yeah, that's a pretty deadly one.
Real nice. Real nice. All right. I see the chat moving. You can text us, of course, 780-218-9999. Austin Matthews diagnosed with an upper body thing. Has Matthews been banged up? Is it the C on his chest that's hurt it's hurt his shoulder? Being the captain of the Leaf has just been too much, and it's hurting them.
The weight of the sea.
Yeah, as Brett B says, captaincy isn't for everyone. I guess that's what
he
it
tried
is.
to turn right. Yeah, he tried to turn right and he heard something.
Yeah, tore it, and that C's too heavy. And
it's too heavy. It's like Zoolander. He can only turn right now. He can't go left.
As the captain of the Leafs, that's all you can do. All right, hey, let's start with the injury conversation. Evander Kane. Cass, you laid out the athletic pubalgia thing or whatever it was last week excellently. The Oilers are saying a minimum 5 to 6 months.
Yeah.
For Evander
clearly
Kane.
it was clearly more reconstructive than what I had, and there's clearly more going on. Which begs the question then, guys, why did they wait so long to get it done? Last year, like during this season. Now, was it because you knew it was going to be 5 to 6 months and you wanted him for the playoffs? Well, maybe I guess that's realistic. But then, so it's I was surprised that it was going to be that long. Again, it could be that you're getting it done on both sides and maybe a little more extensive than we originally thought. Because when I hear 5 to 6 months, I mean, that's like more major reconstruction.
Yeah.
Like that's significant. It's not like just tacking something down and getting back to it. So, I mean, certainly it helps Edmonton out from a cap standpoint. And you keep them off LTIR for as long as you can. Hopefully you can make a move before then to get up as close to the cap as possible and then pull the trigger on LTIR to get that extra cap space. But it's it provides some flexibility. That being said, how much runway time is Evander Kane going to have heading into the playoffs, and what type of Evander Kane is it going to be coming back after that long an injury heading into playoffs? What type of role he's going to play? Is he going to be happy with said role after things have been rolling and established? It just is going to create some, I don't want to say controversy, but it creates some intricacies in how you manage it, coach it, and handle it as the season goes on. I
don't think it's unfair to say that even if he doesn't play until the playoffs in a classic cap circumvention situation, even if he doesn't play until the playoffs, I still think he's more effective than he was in last year's playoffs. Right? Because he was so banged up last year, he couldn't really do anything in the playoffs.
That's what I was like. First, we thought it was like 6 to 8 weeks, right? Then it's like 5 to 6 months. The first thing I think of is, okay, timing wise, where does that put you? Into March.
Like late March.
Yeah, 2-week conditioning stint in Bakersfield. Your timing right, you could get it out there. So he would play some professional hockey before the playoffs. But you always ask, well, what kind of player you're getting at that point if he takes the whole season? That's jumping on a treadmill at 20 miles an hour. But like you said, Dusty, because of the way that Evander Kane plays, and he was a shadow of his former self, his ability to play physical and get into the game, that's an aspect of the game I think you don't need a lot of time to get up to speed, and that will bring him into the feeling better. But the old adage, take a hit to get into it. I think you would see a much different Evander Kane at that point. And just because of the way he can play, I think he would be able to adapt to the speed of the NHL after. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but I think it would be a little bit easier for him to get back up to speed just because of the way that usually how he can influence a hockey game.
Cass, let me ask you this. How much will they miss Evander Kane in the regular season? He's going to miss the majority of it. What do you think? They're a strong forward group already, and part of me thinks, because I did hear during the Holinka that the Oilers were kind of expecting to be out for maybe the majority of the regular season, and they probably would have had that lean come free agency time. I mean, I think they load up with Arvidsson and Skinner kind of as a preemptive strike, knowing they might not have Kane for a good chunk of the season. Yeah. So how much do you think they miss him?
Not that much during the season. I mean, anytime they lose a hockey game, one of the conversations that we're probably going to hear is they need to be tougher. The forwards need to be tougher.
Get used to that, buddy.
Yeah, we're going to hear a lot of that on pre-post game show anytime they lose, especially to a team that does play physical. That's what we're going to hear. But I don't think they'll miss them that much. I mean, they have, as you said, they have enough of a group up front and a good enough, well, really just forward group. I was going to say top 9, top 6, but it's good enough that you don't need him. Like, he's not absolutely necessary. He's not a guy that even if he was fully healthy, is going to play in your top 6 right now with the group that you have. He's probably going to be a third line guy. And so, yeah, I mean, will you miss him? Well, there will be occasions where you would like the physicality and the edge that he can bring to the game and the way he can impact the game with his ferocity. But is it going to be overly impactful? No, I don't think so. I know we're going to get to it. The bigger impact, which we'll also be talking on the Oil Stream pre- and post-game show a lot about, is going to be the defensive unit. I mean, that just
we'll get to that.
Players being injured and out of the lineup on the defensive unit is going to matter so much more than Evander Kane. So it's like you can get by and be just fine without Evander Kane. So will they miss him on a scale of 1 to 10? I'm putting it at like a 3. Maybe even a 2. So like 2 out of every 10 games, you probably miss him. Where like, would have been nice to have him for this one. So I'm putting it at a 2 out of 10.
I agree with you. You weren't getting the real Evander Kane all last year.
Yeah.
Right. So,
his team is adjusted to like life without post-prime Evander Kane.
Yeah. So that whole physicality that we'll talk about at length, that he hasn't been able to play that way and kind of impose his will physically since that 2 years ago in the playoffs, really.
All right, the chat is hopping. If you're watching on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up for us here on Two Guys and a Goalie today. I see Matt Kassian is over in the chat as well. You love to see it. Text us at 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Gage, let me throw this one your way. Jazz Siggy Rocker says, I think guys are going to take runs at Connor and Leon without Evander Kane in the lineup.
No. No, not at all. They have to catch them first. And look, it's a veteran team. Everyone's going to stick up for everyone, I think, at this point. Who's going to run him? Like, who's going to take that? I mean, maybe
Lomberg in Calgary. I know when we had Danny Austin yesterday, he goes, Lomberg's main focus will be to piss off Edmonton.
But it's Calgary too. Yeah. I mean, they did look like they're going to win the cup. 2 games yesterday, but no, I'm not too worried about that. If you're going to put Lomberg up against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl during the regular season, giddy up. Yeah. He's going to feast.
Yeah, that's true. They're going to
yeah. And you have to remember how good the Oilers' power play is and will be. And it's like you have guys that start to take runs, start to take penalties.
Yeah, that alone kind of deters
that
people.
Alone
right?
is a major deterrent here. So. I mean, there's some individual players that, they might play them hard. You think of like how Kadri played McDavid for a number of years, where it's like, you have some guys that can be a little more effective in slowing them down. But the reality is most teams don't have 2 of those guys that are going to be able to take consistent runs at McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice and hang with them 5-on-5. And even if they have one of those guys, chances are they don't have 2 of them, and you're going to have 2 different lines that are going to have that kind of punch. So I'm not, that to me is again, pretty low on my areas of concern. Now, if you want to talk about being able to play physical in the playoffs and hard in the playoffs and, over a 7-game stretch in a row against the same team, having an Evander Kane is like, that helps because you can kind of dish it back with a player like Evander Kane. And I have time for that conversation, but to sit here before the season and to worry about other teams consistently taking runs at McDavid and Draisaitl, I just highly doubt that is going to happen.
Yeah, and you want like the person that I think about there, the first name that comes to mind in those types of scenarios is Miller with the Canucks, right? He plays a hard nose in their face,
elite talent,
but he's a super talent too. Like, and I wonder if it gets back to a Canucks Oilers series that I hope to, because it makes everything so much easier to talk about. That you get a healthy, aggressive Evander Kane getting in Miller's face too. Like that would be, because he couldn't do anything last year. Like he couldn't stick up for anyone. He was too banged up. So having that's going to kind of negate anything that Miller can do to the big dogs, I think, anyway, when you have someone that can play him a little bit more physical.
780-218-9999. This one is in. It says, Lomberg is a useless pylon. No one is worried about him. And this might be the transition here. We were talking about toughness. Huntorio Moam says, Josh Brown is a heavyweight. No one's taken any runs. So if he's in the lineup, I mean, maybe that's the case. It was funny because there's been some good comments over in the chat here as well. This morning on the Nielsen show, we were talking about like the real only question mark about this team going into training camp and regular season this year is they've changed some things on the back end, not overly confident. Like it's a mystery. Like the back end's a mystery. And then last night, Brown plays and doesn't necessarily play well in the preseason, and Stetcher apparently didn't look good in the preseason either. And I don't think it's an unfair conversation to have because these guys are trying to earn a spot on the second pair, and that's probably going to go to Emberson, even with the lack of experience that he has. And then the third pair is going to be either Stetcher or Brown with Kulak. But what'd you think of Brown last night?
Struggled.
Yeah.
Really struggled. Didn't look mobile. Was getting out-muscled in the corner. And he's a big guy.
He's 6'5".
He's a huge man and getting bumped and first pass, not good. A rough night. Nanzo and I were talking about yesterday just how, look, this I like the scenario where there was 2 games to really focus in on the right side of the Oilers D and who is going to step up and make a decision hard for the coaching staff to say who starts game point. 1. And you just said it. Emberson's kind of, he just has to be okay. Like you didn't really notice him at all, but you didn't notice him in a bad way, which I think he's just, pardon the pun, skating through to a position starting game 1.
Yeah, if he doesn't screw up, he's got a job.
Yeah, no one else is pushing it at this point. And that's what you wanted to see. I think that's what, as a coaching staff, or if I'm, up in the brass of the assistant GM, I want to see who's going to take that thing from Emberson, the guy penciled in. It's just getting more and more so that his name's with a Sharpie and not a pencil.
Kaz, what intrigues you about the Stetcher-Brown race for the third right spot D?
Oh, what intrigues me? Can you trade one of those guys for Cody Ceci?
He's back, baby. Oh, hockey season is so back.
Well, I don't understand the Cody Ceci trade. The more we go here through training camp and after that first game, and maybe that'll change. Maybe my opinion will change, but I'm just like, everyone was so hot to trot on Stetcher being the guy and going to be able to play second pair of minutes. And Emerson looks like he will most likely be that guy. But I mean, as a whole, it was a train wreck, the defense yesterday. It was a train wreck. And really, without Darnell Nurse, I mean, you look at both squads, and I understand that it's a split squad game, but as a whole,
that thing down, right? Like
that defensive group did not look very good. Stetcher did not look good. Brown did not look good. And it's one game. It's one game. That's not the entirety of the preseason. That doesn't mean that's what you're going to get for the regular season. But for guys that are really in a position where they have to try to step up to earn that spot, I mean, I couldn't tell you between the two who we like more at this point. I mean, it's kind of was, just a bunch of not great. I mean, we got to see more preseason games, right? We got to see actually when they whittle this down here and you get more of a consistent lineup isn't the right word, but a more NHL ready lineup. We got to see what we have, but at first blush, I mean, it wasn't great.
And it wasn't like when you looked on the other side in the game down in Calgary, like I was watching Tyson Barrie and Mackenzie Weegar, and there was a huge skill gap between those guys and how they dominated the game. I thought that Weegar's unbelievable. He's a
great defenseman.
He's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, he was doing everything. I know it's not a possibility for him to come here, and they wouldn't trade him here anyway, but
he would be nice.
That would solidify a lot of things. And I mean, I know there was a chance Tyson Barrie, but I think there's a better opportunity I can understand why he went to Calgary, because the possibilities of him playing there are a lot better, just their cap situation where they are. But when you can see the difference between real NHL defensemen with guys that are in that 5, 6, I don't want, maybe 6, 7, and it was only one game, and I know, but those guys they have to be better. They have to be way better than what they showed down in Calgary last night.
All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999 is where you can chime in if you watched the games last night. You can slide in on that one as well. Just the last conversation on Brown, because the one part that doesn't, I mean, not every team's going to have 7 great defensemen. I mean, there's a reason that he's a 6/7 guy. The one thing that still blows my mind.
You wore 44?
Is that, how did a 30-year-old defenseman get a 3-year contract when he might not even be in your top 6 regularly? Like, I was somebody else offering him a 3-year deal, and they're like, listen, if you want him, it's 3 years. It's not a number that kills you. I just, like, from an evaluation standpoint, who made the decision that guy had to get 3 years at the age of 30? It's not like he's 24 and you're like, you know what? Let's see what he is when he's 27. I don't understand how you would watch him and go, 3 years, got to have him for 3 years. I don't understand it for the life of me.
The first thing I think about is, why didn't I have his agent when I played? That's what I'm thinking of first. Second, yeah, it's an enigma wrapped in a puzzle, wrapped in something else, Dusty. I don't
quagmire.
And a quagmire. There it is.
Well, just in general, like, it's not even a him thing. It's how many
3 years?
How many fringe number 7 defensemen get 3-year contracts anywhere?
You see 2 years.
Yeah,
you see 2 years.
It doesn't exist a 3-year deal.
Really,
so
I've said this before, but we always used to make fun of either like guys that were picked high or signed huge tickets that in the minors, we would dress up as their agents and basically bank robbers, right? So we'd put a bandana on and get a fake gun and say, this is what I'm doing going into Kevin Lowe's office. Oh, it's so-and-so's agent, because he's holding Kevin Lowe at gunpoint while he signs this deal. So that's why I put that, sometimes in the group chats, I put that John Wick meme.
Ah, yes.
And that's John Wick is essentially whoever's agent going in to negotiate with Stan Bowman.
That's it. Just like, all right, here we go.
Yes, sir.
Gager, how many games do you think Skinner wants in the preseason? 2?
2. And just take 2. And if I'm Nabla, I'm saying you're only taking 2.
Yeah.
That's it. You've played tons.
You're going to play tons.
Yeah. Get what you need in practice. You don't need it. I'd have him play full games, though. None of this.
You're not going to split him.
I'm not going to split him. Just go in there.
I was going to say 2.5.
You said
like
you were going to split him for half a game.
Yeah. Give him one half split at home. Give him a half split at home and then 2 full. The last 2.
Yeah, Cass, none of these. I'm just looking at a guy like me that had half a game. I hated it because you're just like, okay, just don't let any goals for 25.
What was the worst part? Starting a half gamer or going in?
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter?
No, it didn't really matter.
I would have thought you would have answered going in.
Really?
But I mean,
going in my mind, going in.
But you were used.
But you knew you were going in.
Yeah.
It's this. Actually, no, it doesn't really matter.
No.
You're watching the game. You're seeing how it goes. Lots of times, actually, I went in on the other team's power play, which was actually pretty good because you get busy right away. But I can see for Skinner maybe wanting half a game. He'll start that game though, just to get ready, and then take it easy. Then probably Pickard goes from there.
All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Guys, any concern on how Pickard played last night? The D looked like a tire fire in front of him. You can't really, I don't think so.
No, you go on past performance with certain players for sure. I don't, I like Pickard. I think we haven't talked about the Oilers goaltending. We shouldn't have to.
No, should be okay.
It should be just fine. And look, both games were awful last night.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It's fine. I mean, we're kind of dissecting it a little bit.
Well, what's so funny is that if they win the 2 games, it's just like, my God, Pod Coulson. Like, is he going to play in the top 6? But now it's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, which is really what preseason is supposed to be. Like, Katz, did you ever play with a guy who took preseason super seriously?
Well, I took preseason super seriously.
Yeah, you're looking at him.
You're right. I mean, you're a good example of a guy who would have had to take preseason seriously.
We've had to. No, all your bubble guys have to take preseason seriously. Like, if you want to earn a spot in the team, keep a spot in the team, and you're a bubble guy, you have to take it seriously. Now, for your regulars, like a Calvin Pickard, you just use an example where you're like, oh, no, we're just going to judge on past performance. You're not worried about McDavid. You're not worried about Hyman. You're not worried about Draisaitl. You're not worried about Skinner. You're not like those guys just get ready, do what you have to do. But for other people, you are coming in with something to prove or just trying to establish up front. So it's like, yeah, you have guys that do take it seriously because it is serious. It will impact the look that you get and the opportunity that you have, the quality of the preseason. I mean, Stetcher and Brown is an example. You want to be on the ice for, game number 1 of the season. You got to play well in preseason. So there's guys it doesn't matter for, where it's just kind of sort of getting ready, not getting hurt. And then there's guys where it's like, no, every shift counts. And I was one of those guys.
Guys, when you would get your preseason schedule, would you take a look at I don't know if it was 6 or 8 games or whatever you guys were playing back then, would you take a look and find out see who you had the opportunity to fight in preseason? Will you lay that schedule and be like, hey, I can make a name for myself against these 2 guys in the preseason type of thing?
Yep.
Or they were coming for you, a little bit later.
No, you're looking at that for sure.
Yeah.
No, that's part of it where you're just like, yep, got to show something, got to show I can do this, got to show I can hang. Now you never know who's going to be in and out of the lineup depending on what other teams are doing, but but that didn't change whether it was exhibition or regular season or whatever. I mean, you're always in that role where you got to drop the gloves quite frequently. You are always looking at that schedule and always paying attention to who's on the roster.
You want to do as a goalie, do exactly what that Devin Cooley did last night.
Yeah, he's like, of everything that stood out last night, Cooley's the one that moved the needle the most.
That's the one that you walk away from the game here going, wow, that was a pretty big performance.
Well, did you hear his one quote? I think his one quote was, that's what I'm here to do, to prove I don't suck that much. But good for you, man. I mean, and he was great.
He was unreal. And I think that I don't know if I worry a little bit about that Dustin Wolf, because he's the heir apparent. Obviously, he's done.
They've been working on him for a while.
Yeah, but I mean, he's won everything in the American League, and he's still going to have to make the jump to the. But I just feel like the Flames might struggle a lot, right, and have to rely on goaltending, and you don't want him to, his confidence just to be completely crushed. But you're in a weird spot with him because he's done everything in the minors. He's been like the MVP and stuff. So. But it might protect him a little, just his confidence.
We'll get to the Flames a little bit more with Hired or Fired. It is 2 guys and a goalie. We are presented to you by the Sandman and GS Construction. So TSN is dropping their top 50 player list right now. Zach Hyman is 35th on the list. Cass, these are the 4 guys ahead of Hyman on the list. Is he in the right spot? He's 35. Bedard's 34. Robertson's 33. Eichel's 32. Brady Tkachuk is 31. Do you think Hyman?
Yeah, they all should be in front of him.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
all right. So you like where he's placed? Yeah. I would agree. I think that's probably fair. I know Hyman had 50, but I think this probably.
Yeah,
fair.
but he's also playing with McDavid and Draisaitl. Yeah. Like it's Brady Tkachuk doesn't need McDavid or Draisaitl to be that good. Robertson, I probably have him higher on that list. Eichel, I may have him higher on that list too. Like. And Bedard, he's moving up my list. I know I had him last year when we did our own. Like I had him lower than you guys did.
You
guys had him at
you hated him
5th.
As a rookie.
Yeah, you had him at like number 5 or number 4 or some ridiculous like that. But I was like, it's still an unknown as a rookie coming in. So he's definitely bumped up my list. So yeah, should he be in front of Hyman? Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm fine with Hyman being there. I mean, I'm even surprised he was that high on that list.
I have. I don't think I have Bedard lower. I don't think he's ahead of Hyman.
You don't think so?
No. 50 goals, man.
Let me see. Somebody's asking who's right behind Hyman. And I didn't even look. I was just looking at the guys above him. Here we are. I'll give you the rest. I'll give you 31 to 40 here. So behind Hyman were Rasmus Dahlin at 36, Jeremy Swayman at 37. Jake Gensel at 38, Bobrovsky at 39, and Noah Dobson at 40. So those are the guys that were behind him on the list. Alexander Ovechkin not on the top 50 list.
What?
This year. Yeah. Fell off a bit. I mean, he's not getting around like he used to. I still think he'll bury 40, but yeah, not on the top 50 list for the first time in his career. Okay, I wanted to get this too. We'll get to hired or fired in a second. A couple other things to discuss there. Did you see the trailer for the Amazon Prime On the Ice Off the Record? Cass, did you have a chance to see this?
No, I can pull it up right now.
Yeah, pull it up. Who would have... I know YouTube Trevor retweeted it last night. NHL maybe must have put it out.
Just YouTube Prime Video.
Yeah, you can take a look. Gager, what do you think of it?
Great.
Yeah.
So I listened to what you said.
Yeah.
I listened to Trev.
Well, he's into cinema and photography.
He whatever. It was early, maybe a late night. I don't know.
Poor Trev sitting
okay, you guys are looking at it from the angle of people knowledgeable about hockey, right? And you said it was quick and fast, and you know what? But I think that's going to grab the eyes of non-hockey folk. I think more so than anything else.
Like us with the Formula One, we weren't Formula One people.
Yeah, we saw crashes and speed and stuff, and so that kind of brought us in, right? So I liked it from that respect. And like I mentioned on the Hit Nielsen show this morning, having Nico Rosberg at the end of that talking.
You know what? I laugh again because I don't know how many other people got the Nylander Rosberg. I know, but I did. And that's like a classic Nylander Rosberg comparison.
Just look up William Nylander and Nico Rosberg, and they look absolutely identical. And it's pretty fun. And they both have similar personalities where there's a little bit of honey badger in them both.
A little bit, right?
Yeah. They just don't care.
You know what? I was thinking about it more, I think, after the Nielsen show this morning. I think maybe Trev and I were sitting around, we were talking about it. But I hate the name.
What?
On the Ice, Off the Record. Like, it's not off the record. You're recording everything they're saying and putting it out in a documentary. It's not off the record in any way.
They could have been a little bit better.
Had to have been a better name than On the Ice, Off the Record.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like
Quest for the
NBA one they're doing on Netflix. I think it's called The Starting Five.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that makes sense.
I know.
Yeah. Drive to Survive. Totally makes sense.
Because
what was the golf one?
Full Swing.
Full Swing makes sense.
Break Point.
On the Ice, Off the Record. I don't know, man.
Don't
necessarily like. I hate the name. Love the trailer.
Yeah.
Just watched it. It looks awesome. It gives me the tingles. Excited to watch it. I think it'll be really cool. It'll be really fun, especially for people just to see that side of it. I think it's going to be awesome. But yeah, I hate the name. It's a horrible name.
What would be a better name? Like, how do you? So golf's got the Full Swing and Drive to Survive. Something Blades.
Slapshot.
Blades of Steel.
I guess I couldn't do
I don't know. There has to be a better name than On the Ice, Off the Record. It just.
Give us a name. 780-218-9999.
Yeah, or something like, yes, there's got to be a better name than On the Ice, Off the Record.
Or Overtime or something.
Yeah, call it Overtime. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, or something along those lines, or Over the Boards, or it would be, I don't know. Even just Off the Ice would have been better than On the Ice, Off the Record. I don't know. There's got to be, as somebody said, all the podcasts have already taken all the good names, which is probably true. But I don't know. We think there can be a better name. Maybe there's not, but I feel like there could be. Anyway, I'm excited to watch it. I think Dave Pagnotta said that you don't really get the McDavid stuff until episodes 5 or 6.
Perfect.
Which is good. You got to save the best for moving along. Probably start with the Nylander stuff. That's a cocky comment. But yeah, October 4th is when you'll be able to find it. Frozen Water. No, I don't think that works. Top Titty. Nope, not going to work either. Fastest Game on Ice.
Blood and Ice. Like you could
be something along those lines. Athletic Pubalgia. I mean, that would. How about Over the Boards? Next Shift.
Yeah.
If you could somehow do a play on Shift that also involves behind the scenes somehow, like, I don't know. It just seems too wordy of a name for me. But
Full Shift. Like, I don't know.
Brent says, call it Hockey Boys with his head. Blade of Glory. So maybe, you know what? Maybe there isn't a better name. But maybe something with power play too. Power plays, or there's, I don't know. It just seems lazy. It's just like it's like they're us right now. I'm going, I can't come up with a name. We'll just go, it's on the ice and then it's off the record. It's not off the record. That's everything that usually gets said by these guys is off the record.
Yeah.
This is the one moment that everything's going to be on the record.
Top shelf. Call it top
shelf.
Nope. I got it. I got it. Austin Matthews and Friends.
He's not even featured. I love it. This one says Beyond the Glass. That's not bad. Beyond something works.
Yeah.
Beyond the ice.
Yeah.
Beyond the ice,
like
beyond the glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be way better.
It's always a good for Beyond. Beyond always works with these types of things. Really does. Anyway, that launches October 4th, and we'll obviously get a look at it. Behind the Boards. That says a hockey documentary. There's some fun ones over there. I think Beyond the Glass or Beyond the Ice. Beyond the Ice wouldn't be a bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Beyond the Ice might work. All right, let's get into Hire It or Fire It. Brought to you by GS Construction. They are hiring now. Become a part of their great team today by visiting gsconstruction.ca or their page on indeed.ca. For the past 50 years, the foundation of GS Construction has been built on efficiency, quality, and safety. Take your career to the next level. Join the team at GS Construction. I think I might know where you're going with this one, but the Flames won't be as bad as everyone expects this year. Hire it or fire it.
I'm going to hire it. After looking at Uyghur, Vladar, I don't mind as a goalie too. Like I don't. Wolf is still a question mark.
They might have to rely on Vladar.
Yeah, and I just they'll have a good first line and a lot of young guys, a lot of speed. I heard someone say they're not going to be as bad as you think. Like they're not going to be like a San Jose. That's for sure. They'll be the outside looking in for a wild card spot. But yeah, it's not going to be point night.
No, they're not going to be that bad.
No.
Cass, what do you think? Hire it or fire it? They're going to won't be as bad as everyone expects.
I got to hire it too. I mean, you look up and down the roster, Huberdeau is going to be a big part if he can actually turn his career around here, like get back to being 3/4 of what we saw in Jonathan Huberdeau when he was in Florida. But they have some okay pieces up front. Now, it's not like they're going to be an offensive juggernaut, but you have Huberdeau, Kadri, Blake Coleman is going to be Blake Coleman.
Backlund's still there.
Yeah.
Solid player. You have Anthony Mantha. Again, doesn't move the needle like a crazy amount. Your young guys are going to be a big part of it too. So they had a couple of young guys step in. Old Kamloops Blazer, Connor Zary, being one who had finally got an opportunity and really kind of turned around Kadri's season in a lot of ways. And if you look from an analytics, now this is where analytics are helpful. If you look from an analytics standpoint, he really improved whoever he was playing with. Connor Zary did, like he made them better and a player that found some regular production, but still a guy that needs to take, he's 22, needs to take another step forward here. Another young guy in Martin Papasil who kind of had a little bit of a breakout year. So they have a couple young pieces and they have some players that have been around for a while that can provide you with some offense, and their D core is solid. Like they have a solid defensive core still. So no, I don't think they're going to be bad. I don't think they're going to be great. I don't think they're a playoff team, but I think that they're going to be okay. They're not going to be as bad as a lot of people are thinking.
Yeah, I mean, Mantha, Backlund, Sharon Govich is unreal. Like that's a really good player, and I like you said, Cass, I like that Connor Zary. He's a good little player. He should have had a hat trick last night. It was really, really good.
One quick note here. The Oilers, this was in a little bit earlier. We didn't get on it, but none of these are surprises. Nathaniel Day, Clattenburg to the Flint Firebirds, William Nickel to the London Knights, and Dalen Wakely to the OHL. So some junior hockey guys back to the junior hockey.
I was pretty sure that today, back in the day when I was at Oilers camp, this is when Sparky would wear his old, mustard stained Cape Breton Oilers t-shirt because everyone was getting sent down.
Oh man!
So he'd come rolling in with the minor league.
See you later.
Yeah, and just be happy. Oh, how's it going? And he'd take the Oiler bags and put these ratty old Cape Breton Oiler bags in front of guys' stalls, and then just shake their hand. And with his awful Cape Breton Oilers shirt, it was yeah, you would try to
That's
avoid
funny.
him.
That's funny. All right, let's go. Yeah, we got a little bit more time for a few more here for hired or fired. Shohei Ohtani is the greatest baseball player ever. Hired or fire it?
Hire it.
Ever.
Has to be. He has to be.
Hire it.
Like
He might pitch this year in the world if they go far in the playoffs.
Are they saying that?
Yeah.
What a boss move. Like, you go out and drop, it's not even a 50-50. It's going to be like a 55-55 season.
Yeah.
And then in the World Series, you're going to roll out and just be like, you know what? I'll pitch too.
I read that his rehab time frame
Yeah.
could have him pitching in depending how far the Dodgers go in the playoffs, could have him pitching by the end.
Like, he's had one of the most impressive seasons in baseball history this year, and he's not even pitching.
Yeah.
And he's usually one of the best pitchers in baseball as well.
Yeah.
That's, like, is he not just a cheat code? Like, you're the best at both sides. It's crazy. Like,
but I would have him. See, kind of falls into the category of like Connor McDavid for me, most talented player of all time. But
yeah, that's fair. But he's not there yet. Like,
he's not the
titles
GOAT yet.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, he's not the GOAT yet. Like that's kind of where I would have him fall into. Where I'm not ready to say he's the GOAT, but most talented, sure, I could get behind that.
Would you say that he's the GOAT if he went to 8 consecutive finals, even if he didn't win all of them?
Yeah.
Exactly. LeBron James did just that. Unbelievable. We've got confirmation. Perfect.
That was Cass. I didn't get a chance.
Yeah, but that's different. Hey, whoa.
Just saying. Gotcha.
Different. No, that's not a gotcha. How many teams make the playoffs in the MLB?
Fewer.
How many players are on the roster in the MLB?
More.
How often can MLB teams load up to support players around them?
It's true, but you don't have to go through as many.
Totally different.
You don't have to play as many games to get to the finals. Just saying.
Well, you have to play way more games to get to the playoffs. So, like,
well, we can discuss baseball's ridiculous regular season schedule another day. Noah Philp will be ahead of Derek Ryan and Corey Perry come playoff time. Hire it or fire it.
Ooh, that's a good. I hate that question.
I know. Sorry, guys.
That's terrible.
That is a tough one.
I do like asking these questions.
Oh man, if I'm gonna hire it. Because I think that's what people would, in a perfect world, that's what you want. Some big guy coming in that can dominate in the face-off circle and give you some good minutes. Yeah, I'm going to hire it.
Right, the lineup they roll out opening night, it's not going to be the lineup they're rolling in the playoffs with, I wouldn't think. Like, that's just not how it works for most teams. So that's why I think it's a fair question.
Yeah, it's a fair question. Late bloomer. I would like to hire it, but I'm going to say odds are we got to fire it.
Okay. All right. Final one. This is inspired by Gager today. A good chicken tender is better than a good chicken wing. Hire it or fire it. Oh. This might be the toughest question I've ever asked in the history, too, guys.
No, I'm gonna hire it. I like them better.
You like tendy? I like a good tendy better.
A good tendy is better, in my opinion.
All right. I mean, they're all good at Popeyes.
They're less work. They are, but they're a little less work. That's why I like them a little bit more.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna fire it. I'm all gas, no break on my wings. And those Hooters wings with the spicy garlic sauce are the best.
I've discovered a new wing myself. So on the CFL trails.
Oh yeah.
Well, first of all, the chicken tendies at Elephant and Castle, Winnipeg, #1 on my chicken rankings all time. But I guess you can get this locally here too, but I never have. It's just when I go to Calgary at the Westin, there's a keg. So the the keg has wings, 3-pepper. I think they're called 3-pepper wings.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, buddy, they are some of the most delicious wings I have ever tasted in my entire life. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's just, I had them, tried them for the first time like a month ago. And I've been in Calgary like 3 times since then. And I'm just crushing these 3-pepper wings. Like, they are so damn good. It's the best wing I ever had in my life, I think. It's incredible.
I got to talk to Furry because the Popeyes has like the ghost pepper and they have the Parmesan garlic ones, right?
Yes.
I need him to merge these flavors together for me.
Oh, you're a spicy boy.
With a Popeyes Gager wing. and that would be my favorite.
After the Elks game Saturday night, because somebody wasn't there to deliver hot dogs and burgers to the booth, I was starving. So I got home, I dropped off my parents and my wife and my kids, and I told Tam, I said, hey, I'm whipping to Popeyes. It's just by the Costco there.
Yeah.
So I whip up to Popeyes, I get the classic chicken sandwich, and then I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna get some boneless wings. So I got the garlic parm boneless wings, thinking that they were like not saucy.
Oh, they're saucy.
I open it up and it's like, oh my God. The amount of sauce Popeyes is throwing on their wings is insane. They should be charging extra.
Yeah, those are great. Yeah, I felt bad. I was like, I almost put in a call for you, Dusty, because I knew you'd be without that.
I kept turning around all through the fourth quarter. I kept turning around looking on the chair behind me. I was like, there's no box of hot dogs and burgers yet. I honestly was going to text you and be like, are you okay? I was worried for you. Buddy.
That's great.
All right. That's going to do it for Two Guys and a Goalie today. Presented to you, as always, by our partners over at GS Construction, setting the industry standard for 50 years with quality, efficiency, safety, driving their success, and you can become a part of that team right now. They got jobs all over the city all the time. They're very busy. www.gsconstruction.ca and click ready to work. If you're bored of your own job, you want to get paid better, maybe be part of a better team with the Next Step Person program at GS Construction. It's not just a job, it is a career. Cass, good chatting with you today, buddy. We'll get you inside in the office here for some of Gager's store-bought chicken tendies. They're delicious. That's going to do it for Two Guys and a Goalie today. EST Afternoons with Gager and Hernan Salas coming up. The Reed Wilkins Show with Reed Wilkins and Glue Guy Jay Millen from 3 to 6 today, right here as well. Thank you very much for joining us on Two Guys and a Goalie. Stick around. EST Afternoons is on the way next.